we are good. I think we're on. Okay. Okay, we got like 5 things we want to copy first. Let me think. Yo, well, good morning. That's it. Yo, Chap. No, well, I'm gonna go grab it at like basically after I shut off stream. Because thank you, Jo. My friend did it. My good friend ZTS. Oh, you're talking about the thing, yeah, exactly. Museum tier shit. We're gonna have to sell out though and ruin it a little bit. I don't want to wake anyone, like it's Sunday, so I don't want to like wake anyone up early. So I'm just gonna have to wait till like 10:30-ish. I don't know exactly when, but a time when I can not feel guilty for making someone wake up and come get my thing. Pure white, yeah. It's very erotic. Speaking of which, yo, Bono, yeah, I am nice, exactly. I'm just thinking about what would make me angry. Speaking of which, Channel took his new music video down. I think it's kind of a publicity stunt, though, to get more attention, to kind of create pseudo controversy to get more attention. You can still see it though. Just type in I don't remember exactly what to type in, but if you just type, I think if you just type in like channel Zocco, you'll get it. Zocco, but with the like. I don't remember how to write kana. My bad, I don't remember how to write kana. It's over. No, that's new. No, that's O. Yeah, it's over. I don't remember how to write kana. But anyway, the little thing and then like that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jo. Wait, no, that's wrong. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, we did it. Yeah, write it like that. Anyway, you can still. Someone uploaded both the song and the video without the vocals. Yeah, he's more marketing Max than Saito. Hive mind. Sorry, macro. I don't know what that means, but very true. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. I assume the new version will probably do a little better than the first one as a result. Maybe not though, maybe it'll fail, I don't know. Holy shit, bass. Let's go. Free keyboard glitch. I think Liam Kings used to talk about doing that a lot. I think I got a printer even out of them once, like an entire big, pretty good like color printer. Because they goofed. You can get like quite... It's not as easy these days because, you know, people have figured it out, but... It's definitely a thing that can be done. All right, so we're doing like a table type composition. I gotta just copy a couple examples first. Just two people sitting across the table from each other. So I just have to copy a couple of those or things along those lines. And this one should honestly be really quick and easy. I'm actually gonna rough it out immediately after this one, and then just sort of use the other ones to like sort of check, make sure I'm like kind of getting the nuances right and stuff. And these roughs aren't going to be that, like these copies aren't going to be like that in depth or anything. We're going to keep this one a little bit simpler. Just because I can kind of already see it in my head and I don't need that much to like do it. And then this will be the last day of having to do any like composition planning crap. That'll be it. Which is pretty epic because it means that my art responsibilities on the whole thing are really starting to dwindle. So, especially stuff that requires a lot of like creative brain work. But yeah, I gotta think about like what kind of videos I want to get out this month, because I want to try and I know we're already like a third through it, but I want to try and make this month like a really big channel growing month. So that like when the demo drops, it can, you know, drop to like a lot of people, as many people as possible. I think the demo will create like a lot of hype though. That I think from there it will make things much easier from there to spread shit. So, but yeah, I still want to drop it to as many people as I possibly can. So, you do the composition planning and then Woda does the rest. Yeah, pretty much, except we pass it back and forth like a little bit. Like I do the composition plan, he'll do all the drawing. Then I'm going to go over and pixelize all the characters with them. Then I hand it back again, and he'll always like tell me like what to fix and shit. Or if it's something he can just, if it's like minor enough, he'll just fix it. He'll just do it himself, and then pixelize like the background portion and stuff, and then we're done. So it's designed that we're doing it that way because it's basically like most optimal. That way, like, since I sort of have I'm the source of like knowing like literarily and shit, like what the things should be, like sort of that portion. It makes sense to just have me plan them so that he doesn't plan something and then I keep like telling him to redo it or something. That would get really annoying fast. We've done that in the past, and it gets annoying. So this way, I can just plan out the composition myself. There's no question of what it should be. He's got the drawing horsepower, so he can draw it, and he knows what I'm looking for at this point pretty well in terms of like characterization and all that shit. So it's really easy. Like with very minimal communication and redos, we can get what we want pretty easily. And then like if there's a nuance change I want anyway, I can just get that nuance change when I pixelize it. And if I accidentally make it worse in the process, then he can just tell me afterward anyway. So it's a really nice like system we have basically. It's very efficient. And like everything has been coming, yeah. Everything has been coming out like literally exactly as I picture it. Like it's kind of crazy because like I'm really not used to, like in the past when I would work on stuff, like stuff wouldn't, like you wouldn't finish something and it's like it would be like a compromise between what's in your head and sort of what you have to end up with. But like on this project, everything is coming out like exactly what I'm picturing in my head. Like more like as exact as is realistic. So like 85% basically. Which is just like really exciting. That's genuinely extremely exciting. Because it's just like it makes you I think especially when you involve someone else and it's still coming out the way you want, exactly the way you want, like that's just a good feeling because you just feel like you just feel like you're some fucking real deal director or some shit. And you feel like your ideas are good too because it's just like, oh, this is the feeling I wanted with this composition, and now that I actually see it in action, sure enough, it does have that feeling. So it's just like it's just good. It's just nice to see. It was nothing like that in the past. Everything used to be a compromise, but eventually you hit the point where shit's just not really a compromise. I mean, the compromise in this project is the simplicity of the format. It's just the fact that, it has to be pixels and all that shit, which I don't mind. I like pixels. Like I've always had this like sort of like I guess it's the cringy Algomax term, like dream game. I've always had this kind of like dream vision of like, what if there was an RPG that like kind of looked simple in terms of like the pixels are like low res and shit, but the actual depth and complexity is really high, and it uses its resolution to convey character expression and detail to its fullest as much as it can within its resolution and like limited color work. Basically, like, what if a Famicom game just like went? I mean, there is like shit like Metal Slayer Glory on the Famicom, which like basically showed like how far you can push detail on the Famicom if you really want to. So that's like a really funny example. Yeah, if Cooper could draw, he'd be less angry all the time, yeah. Wouldn't have to tell whoever it was to walk through a door 80 times. It's funny, it's nice that I've had the experience of trying to get a vision out when you can't draw, at least well. And then having the experience now of feeling the difference of like when you can actually draw to the extent that, you know, you have a, you know, you're capturing a vision and a style and a system and all that shit. It's really, really nice to be able to feel the difference. It's kind of rare too, because like most people, if you're gonna get decent at drawing, it's because you got good at a really young age. But I can't proportionately... Like, I keep wanting to make her hat so much bigger than it actually is supposed to be. Yeah, but I specifically picked up drawing for the sake of, you know, for the sake of being able to make projects better like this and stuff. So, like, with the idea of it in mind, basically, like, oh, I want to be able to design characters and direct projects. Not necessarily like I want to be able to, you know, compete with a real deal illustrator, but yeah, so it's just like, it's nice to hit that point because you, I think you just like appreciate it more than maybe someone who was just kind of like a childhood drawer that just, you know, talent plus childhood EXP'd their way into good drawing. But yeah, it's a good feeling for sure. Yeah, progression director for Erica TikTok. Maybe we need a referral. We need a guy in Japan who's friends with these people to refer Jo to get that job. Or you can wait for my Japanese branch, my Japanese Eroge branch to open. We'll hook you up. I want to know someone who's working at an Eroge company though. It's like, I want that to happen so badly. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that though. Yeah, exactly. They're always running a they do everything on like a shoestring for sure. It's just like every project is just like do or die. I guess like similar to the anime industry, but like probably with even less lag room. Alright, I made her entire thing just too big. Let's just shrink this whole fucking thing. But yeah, we need to get that Kone. We need the I was actually, as soon as the demo comes out for this, I was gonna, like, people that I know you can get like in touch with to some extent, I was definitely gonna get in touch with. Like Masan's not like an industry guy yet, but like Masan, I'm absolutely gonna immediately message And he's starting to get industry Kone, Masan. So I'm gonna message Masan and maybe get like, you know, maybe we could hook up an interview or something. I'll have to train my gonna have to train my Japanese speaking ability. Yeah. I didn't even notice that. It's supposed to be more of like a it's supposed to be more of like a whatever type cap, but yeah, it's looking Remilia. It's looking Remilia build. I just like I totally goofed the entire placement of like everything here. That's why before starting a composition you always want to do a couple practice copies. Yo, Fuzzy. Finally watching streams on my main PC. Got some new earbud space. Hive Mind. Muslim prayer in the background. Real New York apartment experience. Yeah. I can't even hear through my headphones what you're talking about. That is a thing. That is a thing I hear. Okay, I see this shit. Everything here is supposed to be a good bit lower. Just in general. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, now it's working. Now it's making sense. And basically, I think in general, one of the other things that was tripping me up is everything like here should be higher. Yeah, that's a lot better. Alright, we got it now. So when I go to do the one I'm going to do, obviously since it's wide, I have to account for like wideness. It would be nice to find at least like one wide example of one of these like table type compositions. I don't have one like off the top of my head. I'm sure I could easily find one, but I didn't bother looking for one. But I really probably should. I should probably find at least one example though before actually doing my own. I'm going to take a look in a sec. Let me just finish this. New York, Japan. New York, Japan. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take that over New York, New York. Borderline what Tokyo is, if you think about it. Just like center of degeneracy and shit, but it's Japan, so it's epic. I think Fuyu Akane has his DMs open also. I could DM him some fan mail for starters. Oh, Scott, you know what we got to yo, Flatface. You know what we got to do? We got to start doing some ambitious Skaji fan art. Like not just like Rakugaki shit, but like something like really we got to put time and polish in to Skaji fan art. So we can get his attention. Maybe maybe slightly bait his you know, preferences or whatever, but I kind of just want to draw the Wolies. I don't really want to think about what Skaji's into. He'll have to notice at some point if we do a decent job. Put enough polish in. I just want to draw a lot of Sui from Sakuuta. And Loli Shizuku when she was, yeah. I could draw some K and Naoya because I gotta learn how to draw males and dudes anyway, but do the Aurora get pregnant Twitter meme, but with have I even seen that one recently? Oh yeah, I did. I saw at least one example of the meme. Have you heard of Rokuro no Mowashimono? A month ago, I commissioned him to do something of... Are you serious? That's fucking Kino, dude. No, let's take a look. Oh, wait, yeah. No. I do remember him. Yeah, this dude's fucking sick. Yes. Holy shit, I can't wait. Genuinely pumped as fuck. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking how, you know, if I can get my hands on a, I just realized I don't need the, no. Oh, yeah, no, we're fine. If I can get my hands on a decent, some kind of like decent marketing budget or whatever, I was thinking how sick it would be to because Onimushi did this with Shiro Nagase. Is one of the things that helps get his game around. He would just go around and he would have artists draw shit for it through like Scab and all that stuff. And it's just like, it's a really, really sick advantage we have in the current environment now. That's close enough. That's close enough to the general composition idea that we got it. His picks about working got promoted based workplace. I think we just leave it up for now. I think I'm gonna look real quick for like a normal CG thing with like a table involving a table just to. Because this type of composition, it's simple, but it's just like a little bit more. It's just slightly more involved than I was expecting. So I just want at least one example of a wide thing, preferably from Tsunako. I mean, it's not a huge deal because the principles are the same, whether it's wide or narrow. It's not like the actual principles change. But. Like a lot of the time, like in anime, you'll actually see the like tall style, the long style light novel compositions get translated into like a normal widescreen type thing. Sometimes they'll do it like a vertical pan, so it effectively stays long style. Yo, Fumo. Dawa. $10 and some spare change. Actually, don't know what you're talking about, but I agree. I wonder if YouTube killed one of your messages. Oh, the promotion. Yes. I see what you're saying. I need to find. All right. We will. Oh, you know what's a good one? I feel like Fairy Fencer has a composition somewhere in it similar to what I'm looking for. Let's take a look. Yeah, kind of. Like, close enough. Yeah, this is close enough. All right. Yeah, plan to go right into the 13. Most brutal mindset. The artist mindset is one of the most brutal mindsets on the planet. All right. Yeah, right, Fuzz. You gotta prove Cam wrong now. Alright, just gotta open this in clip so I can grayscale it. Ah, fuck you. It's the stupid shit where it's a WebP format that isn't like properly supported and whatever. Oh fuck, I just made it screen record when I wanted to take a screenshot. Oh, I hate this program so much. I'm gonna have to Control-Alt-Delete the Share X because there's no way to open it while it's doing that. All right, let's try this again. Alright, let's do this again. Alright, we got it. Maybe from clipboard. Alright, let's go. Let's fucking go. FFmpeg to the rescue. Will that convert the WebP crap? What I ended up doing, I just took a screenshot. I just took a screenshot of the file. That was my solution. Oh yeah, this is gonna help a lot, I think. Oh, I see. All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep that in mind for now. Oh, there's an ad. All right, we will grab that. When I see WebP, I think of that edit that someone made where it was like, what's his name? Vince McMahon? With the, I mean, now I just think of the BBC rant when I think of Vince McMahon, but with the one meme, it's like, oh, we found the son of a bitch, when like, it's like, oh, finding the guy who invented the WebP format. Because that shit's so fucking annoying. Yeah. I think I had to download FFmpeg to get ShareX to work. I think I just didn't know what the hell it even was. I just downloaded it and didn't ask questions. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you want to see, hold on. No, you know what? There's no point. I'm just gonna show you. I'll just show you when the actual thing's done. Every website file conversion tool is just a wrapper. Oh, yeah, around FFM. That makes sense. That makes sense. Speaking of Fairy Fencer, I've been wanting to give that another play soon. Might be a fun thing to play on stream. Now that I can actually play PC games. One thing I really want to fucking do is make a I really want to make, well, there's a couple like long form style like video review type things I want to make. Partially because those are good for reviews, and partially because there's just a couple I just really want to actually make. And I really want to make a mainline Neptune retrospective. Especially given the way, like, oh fuck, I'm not getting the sizes right here. Especially with the way, you know, with the localization differences and all that shit. You'd like it more if you played it in, well, this is true for everything, but it's triply true for Neptune shit. It's just so much better in Japanese. But as far as if you want one, just go right to V2. If you want one that's more of a, you don't need the other ones because they all kind of do their own thing. Just play V2 first. V2 is a roller coaster from start to finish. But yeah, I also recommend learning Japanese. Yeah, that's normal, Will. That is normal. Like when you start with this shit, there's a, or not even start, like that can be normal like a year in or 2 years in or whatever. Like it's like there's like severe brain rewiring shit going on or something. It's just like your brain hasn't created yet the like pathways for dealing with the info super efficiently, basically. Because that's what I tell people too. Like, also, like, some people get this retarded idea. Part of it was because like Psycho would say stupid shit. Like my brother and I were just joking the other day, how like Psycho was like deep into art, and he would say shit that a beginner would think, like, oh, if I could just draw what I'm exactly what I'm visualizing in my head, or if I could just draw exactly what I see in my dreams, I'd be like a god of drawing, which is just like a comedically like beginner tier like concept, like misunderstanding of how art works. And this is a dude that had like, you know, good bit over 20,000 hours. He was just really nutty. But yeah, so basically one thing that I like to remind people is like you can't change the amount of there's like 10 things wrong with that psycho idea, by the way. I can't even like get into all of them. There's like 10 different reasons why that's retarded. But at any rate,
the simplest way to explain it would be like if you trace the photo,
yes,
that look amazing.
yes, just trace a photo. There you go. That's the simplest that's the most basic reason why that idea is retarded, but there's other reasons too. But at any rate, yeah, you can't actually change the amount of info, like artistic info, your brain tends to like to process at one time. Like it gets better as you get better at art, but it doesn't actually get that much better ever. So you're kind of, the thing I always compare it to is it's sort of like the vectors in Elfen Lied, how like the different Dio clonuses or whatever are just born with like a certain amount of vectors and of certain length and strength and whatever, and they can't like, they can slightly grow them through training and whatever in maturity, but they don't really change. Art is a lot like that. Like your brain just has a certain amount of artistic info. It just finds comfortable to take in at a time, and you can't really change that much. But like what getting better does is it like enhances the efficiency at which you like know how to process it and what to do with it. And so with like a little info, you can do a lot and stuff. Honestly, it's not that different than being good at like Pokemon or whatever. Like, oh, he used this move, so I know like 10 other pieces of info. It's not like someone's brain is going like a mile a minute doing like int J shit. It's just simply like you know these patterns. You know these patterns, and you're used to processing these patterns, and you're used to knowing what one piece of info probably implies about other info. So, like, for example, someone's really experienced, they can see a proportional mistake and they instantly know. Because you know how proportional mistakes create domino effects? Like, if an eye is too big, it then will cascade into, like, other things being too big or whatever. If someone's really experienced, they don't have to actually calculate all those things. They can just see an eye got too big and they'll just immediately know because they just have a memorized feel for what that cascades into. So it's not like they're using when someone's drawing really well, they're not some crazy supercomputer that's like processing a gazillion pieces of data at once. They're just using every piece of data they have to its fullest, very quickly, basically. So that's just like a thing to think about, because I didn't know that for a while, and it gets into like weird shit too. Did you Saikita? Actually, don't know what you're talking. I must have missed something you were responding to. Did I start drawing before or after getting into anime? I was into anime basically just like always. So way after. I would draw as like a hobby as a kid, but like every once in a while I'd be like, I want to draw, like if you see like Toby Fox, like his doodles and shit. I think his doodles are super cursed. I didn't draw nearly as cursed as he would, but I was basically just like a big doodler. I was very similar to him for a really long time. 3. Yeah. I was a huge doodler. I was really big on the doodle. But at some point, if you're not really talented, you got to get off the doodle thing and have a point where you like actually get, really serious about it. Yeah, exactly, Fuzzy. That's like, I feel like that's just like common with people who get into it later. I feel like it's rare. It can be rare to find someone who's like truly like wasn't even a doodler. I think that's rare. Okay, so everything here is too much. Yeah, because basically there's a but yeah, I was into Ball was my entry, as it was for a lot of millennials, Ball on Toonami. But where I really got obsessed with just anime as a whole was Yu Yu Hakusho. Very shortly after, it's still my favorite to this day. Yeah, and then from there, just gradually other stuff, just what you could get your hands on. It was hard to get your hands on a lot of shit, so I had to like consume a lot more slowly than someone like now would be able to. But just over time, you end up, just getting into more and more shit, basically. But for the longest time, it was like no one even knew how to even get started when it came to like drawing like in a Japanese style. Like the concept was just unfeasible. There was even theories like you literally need to be biologically Japanese or it just won't happen. Stuff like that. Like there was like it was a simpler time and it was a just much less scientific time. It was almost like it was literally like a pretty popular accepted idea, even almost like for the longest time, like how do you draw anime? And it was just like you be born Japanese. That was by far the most common consensus for a very long time.
It was not like a sarcastic joke.
No, it was dead serious. It wasn't even a joke. It was just everyone was serious about it. Like it wasn't a joke. It was like
really?
actually. Yeah, no, it was not a joke. Like, people were actually serious about that. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Yeah, draw friend race science, exactly. Yeah, it was just basic cope, Fuzzy, yeah. Yeah, Botto, yeah, you're probably the yeah. You are definitely a rarer case for sure. Yeah, Fuzzy, that's a good yeah. I feel like ninth grade is a common time to like awaken to what you want to take seriously. That's kind of how it was. That was like the same period for me when like I picked up drawing later because I never thought I would actually get serious about drawing. But as far as like coding and writing shit and stuff, it was same period as you in my life, basically. Okay, yeah, the head area. This is just way too big. It's hard to. It's really hard. The hardest part about this type of composition is understanding just how small the back character is supposed to be compared to the foreground character. An elephant could learn to be. I think I know what you're talking. I think I've seen that. It's far less. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you can always ramp the seriousness over time. You know, it's not like being an athlete where you miss your chance and you're done. I mean, it's not like you have all the time in the world, but it's definitely better than being an athlete in that regard. At elementary school, I wrote long fanfics, made comics, watched Naruto, but then lost my way and stopped thinking that stuff was cool for a long time. Yeah, I know what you mean, Cam. That happens to a lot of people. I feel like especially like how much of a gamer were you? Were you like a light gamer or a heavy gamer? Because I feel like gaming is a really easy way to kind of like lose interest and focus in a lot of things because it's just such a time sink and it's such a low investment form of media. You know, like it's the only media that you can consume and truly turn your brain off. Not like kind of turn your brain off, but truly turn your brain off. Yeah, Cam, yeah. Ancient gamer GTA 5, yeah. I'm more of a new school GTA 5 type gamer. But I know about those ancient GTA 5 gamers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cam, yeah. It's that's why I say like okay, if you were to ask me like what the 3 most destructive vices in the world are, I would say number 1, not counting simping women, I would say number 1 is weed. Number 2 is gaming. And 3 is just, I don't know, hardcore drugs. This is my opinion that I think this is founded in a lot of reality. Still way too. This is the hardest part of the whole thing is just understanding that the background character is really not supposed to be that large. Well, they basically occupy the upper third. Like if you just do some rule of thirds shit, their face is just supposed to occupy the left side of the upper right third quadrant, basically. Number 3, fisting Liam. Double fisting. Wolfie Liam double fisting. Epic prolapse. My favorite two who I have a boring answer. I don't know how boring of an answer it is. I honestly just like Reimu the best, I'm not gonna lie. I really, really like the whole, like, you know, like straight Kurokami, like Wafu, Bijin aesthetic thing. Like in Gochu, so like Chi is my favorite, for example. I like them. I like all different kind of like variants of them a lot. So I think she's my favorite. Ultimately, if it's one of the yokai, my favorite of the yokai is probably I don't know, to be honest. I like all of them. I not equally, but I do like all of them. Moko, yeah, that is a good pick. Will. Of course, most famous for the the Chinese memes now. I've been wanting to kind of get back into Toho for a while. It's been quite some time since I really like spent much time with it, to be perfectly honest. But Beat Mario has been streaming and shit. Every time he streams, I think about it again and how I kind of miss. You know, I miss spending time with the series in general. Okay, I think design-wise, at least, I think Nue is my favorite of the yokai, design-wise, at least. But I'm not like super up on her lore or common uses in the Niji Sosaku, so I feel kind of stupid saying Nue. But design-wise, she's definitely my favorite one, and she's got some like really killer fucking fan remixes of her theme and shit. I feel like I still just went too big. Oh, I see. It's because my canvas is not actually wide enough. Yeah, there we go. Near the end of the year, in college I had a couple of roommates who convinced me to try smoking a joint. It just gave me the feeling being sleep deprived, but mostly relaxing. Yeah, I had a fuck. I'll read that in a sec. Hold on. I gotta talk to my mom real quick. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. We're good. We're good. Yeah. One of them left behind a gummy edible. I assumed it had the same effect. Ate right before dinner with dad. Ended up going to the ER. That's fucked. Yeah. Yes. I accidentally. I accidentally had. It didn't do anything like that, but just a general terrible experience. When I met up with some old friends last year, it didn't do any didn't have any of that type of thing. But yeah, I didn't even know what they were giving me. So, but yeah, shit is bad news. Any thoughts on the non-Japanese Asian otaku scene? Oh yeah, I was gonna say before I answer this too. I was gonna say something mad funny is when people get all into like voodoo, like the psycho, like oh, if I could just see what's in my dream, I'd be good at drawing. It reminds me because that's where people get ideas like oh, if I draw while I'm like high or something, I'll see like some vision. And years back, this one dude who I was helping with like drawing shit. He's like, no, I swear, I like saw so vividly when I like smoked weed and I got like this vision and it was like it made me draw like so good. And he showed it to me. I'm like, dude, this isn't any different than what you usually do. There's like no. Anyways, funny as fuck. Like it makes you completely lose a sense of objectivity. But yeah, any thoughts on the non-Japanese Oda scene? I hear that Chinese TikTok clone, there are a lot more people making videos about anime and eroge than on Western. Oh, that's interesting if true. Yeah, Niji Sosago is the real heart of Toho. I agree with that, Fuma. Oh, I see. I see, well, yeah. But yeah, it's gonna need some time before it really you know it develops to the point where it's like how should I put it, like functioning like the Japanese scene. It's going to need a little bit of time, but it's definitely like they're definitely ahead of the West. There's no question about that. They are ahead of the West for now, at least. And it's definitely genuinely like really cool to see. Because you definitely can feel like, oh, it's it's definitely like a new era in that sense. Like in the future, I mean, the future is going to be Oda culture stuff just being a general international thing. And at some point we will have like people, we will have like even if they're not as developed, like Japan will always be the hub. Japan will always be and like my hope too is that more and more people learn Japanese as a result, which I am seeing. I think I'm seeing more and more like Chinese and Koreans and stuff learning and stuff. The Needy Girl Overdose dude, Narura, he blogs every single day, and he recently took a trip through Korea and shit, and because he is saying how he said he wants to find more like gaijin otaku friends, and he's another one I wanna, like, when chapter 1 comes out, I might send him the I might like try to, he's not too hard to get a hold of. I might try to send him the chapter 1 when that comes out. But yeah, he was saying how like, yeah, it's still like underdeveloped in Korea in terms of like size and whatever, but like there's a lot. He said like he feels the. He says he feels that the scene is, you know, on the rise. It's becoming a thing for sure. And yeah, so I mean, hopefully with time things just really, you know, develop. I think they will. I'm seeing more and more people learn, you know, proper art technique, you know, proper Japanese art technique with time. You know, it's a gradual process, but with time it's happening for sure. And yeah, if like more and more people get aware of like eroge and shit, that would be huge. And like just how important that shit is. Alright, so that's basically it for this one. This one was a lot more complicated than the other one. I resolved myself to never drink or smoke. Smart, Fuzzy. Smart. Cam, it's crazy to me how many women are in a relationship with chronic gamers. Yeah. My old American friends all play like 8 hours a day and somehow have a girlfriend wife who puts up with it. That's insane. I guess that's just like a millennial thing now. That's just like, yeah. I guess the paradigm has shifted. Dr. Colio. I once accidentally overdosed on opioids that were prescribed to me after a crown from a dentist. Yeah, those are fucking not good. Whenever they would give them to me, I would not use them at all. I would just not use them. I would just endure the pain and like, you know, they would just end up in the hands of someone else usually against my will. I didn't do anything illegal. Yeah, exactly, Fumo. That's when it's like really dangerous. Yeah, there's always Tylenol, exactly. That's when it gets really dangerous because it's just like if that I mean it's like anything like you know, you can get a bad habit with that with like junk food, whatever the fuck it is. The difference though is that other things tend to be more recoverable. Like the lasting effects tend to be less bad from many other things. Like even alcohol, which tends to, you know, accelerate aging and stuff, tends to not do the same tends to not do the same like lasting damage, you know, that stuff like weed will do. Well, we like literally weed in particular. Yeah, exactly. There's an entire country of people that do that. Yeah. Real pitiful beings. I agree. Yeah. No, it was a metaphor, Cam. I was saying when you get people who try to learn artistic anatomy because they want to draw anime, but the thing that they learn anatomy from is literally just a Western art style, so they end up just simply learning a Western art style. And it's like, oh, congrats, you now use a Western art style, basically. And you're gonna have to unlearn that. / you wasted the EXP that you could have been putting into Japanese art styles, which are always more complicated and esoteric and require a lot more training. So that's why I likened it to going to learn, like, I want to learn Japanese as a language. And then someone tells you, well, you need to really understand your grammar, so you should learn French first to get the grammar down. Like, don't even think about learning Japanese until you've learned French. And it's like 2 years pass, and it's like, okay, I learned some decent amount of French. Well, it's like, oh well, guess what? That doesn't translate to Japanese at all. It barely does at all. It's similar to that. It's like that's why I was saying like if you're gonna be practicing like anatomy tutorials and shit, make sure they're actually like from good Japanese artists. I was actually gonna make a clinic really, because I'm gonna be putting out a devlog soon, and those always bring in new people and shit. I'm actually gonna make 2 videos on the clinics, 2 clinics. One is gonna be just like a basic like how to learn like anatomy type video, just going off of like a lot of things that are like less conventional wisdom about that. And then another one will be like a perspective one. I might do a lighting one as well. Because there's a lot to say. There's surprisingly, because like a lot of the time I'll just kind of give short answers about these things to people. And I realize eventually it's not like quite enough. Like I should really like elaborate on the whole thing more for people. Because a lot of the time I just imagine like, oh, I can just say like a minor thing and people will put the rest of the pieces in place. But I realize it is worth like, it's definitely worth like talking about in greater detail. And yeah, especially if I'm going to be doing a devlog and bringing in some new people and stuff, it's a nice thing to have because there's a lot of the time it's the thing people worry about first. So it's just like, okay, there it is. It'll be right there. Like you can go into the clinics, you'll see, here's a video about anatomy. Here's a video about perspective. And that should be like attractive to some people learning basically. I want to learn French someday, but Japanese raps always come first base. That's kind of like, I'll always consider, like, if I cannot, if there's no disadvantages to it, I would like to know Chinese at some point just because it's such a huge market and stuff. And because they're starting to become involved with, like, the Otis stuff and stuff, it would be really nice to know Chinese, but, like, holy shit, it's not a consideration, even in the slightest, until my Japanese is, like, so down. Like, just so good. Better than my English by a good bit. Only then would I even begin to consider a little a little Chinese. All right, so she takes up most of takes up this whole third. Um, 87 Uyuki I'm sorry, I can't read that. I'm just gonna call you 87. Saito, Naoki, and High Channel use Western art books. So yeah, what they do is basically the way that works is they already have a system. They already have a very developed system, and what these books are doing is just giving them a new perspective on things. Basically, they're just giving them like a new set of things to try. When you're really good, when you're already really good and systemized and you know your shit, having a different thing, like taking a different, seeing someone else's ideas about how to do shit and stuff, and like seeing a new, just like set of, just basically switching to an alternative perspective on things, especially if you're the type of artist, Hyde, we're gonna call him Hyde, especially if you're the type of artist he is, where he's a very physical artist, like he's very, very physical maxed. He's gonna gain a lot from, he's gonna feel a lot of just general ideas and stuff, and just a way of seeing things by looking at stuff like that. There's there's nothing foundational for him to develop anymore. He's completely post foundation. So it's basically just like additional ways of ways of looking at drawing for them and stuff. But if you're learning from scratch, that's literally all you have. That's like no matter how much. If you're starting from scratch and you just draw a bunch of Hampton, well, that's your way of drawing now. Your way of drawing is the Hampton way of drawing. And I know this really well too, because I mean that's literally how it was for me in the early days, because there were so few resources and shit. I had to use a mix of Japanese, what little Japanese resources there were, and I did have to just take a lot of Western advice and use stuff like Hampton stuff, for example. And yeah, like copying, it was really funny because like a lot of the time copying the Hampton shit and stuff, like you can kind of just instinctually feel it's not getting you any closer to what you actually want to be doing. But there's no one to tell you what else to do, so you just end up kind of like silencing your brain and just being like, all right, I guess I'll just like trust the plan. And then after a while, once you get good enough to really kind of set your own direction, you just start realizing like, oh yeah, sure enough, like the Hampton reps were more or less a waste of time. They're not a complete waste of time because you draw anything, you're getting better at drawing. Like general wise, your G factor is going up. But no, you're not like, there's so much stylistic info you have to get down. If you're a true, fresh learner, you can't afford to be barking up like some tree of like irrelevant info. It's just too much of an EXP sink. It's such a bad EXP sink that it could potentially be the difference between like, if you're starting a little later in life, your time obviously is more your time and your patience is a little more finite, and wasting your time on crap like that could be the difference between like you just have to kind of pretty much just quit altogether, or you get to continue the act. So that's why it sucks. Also, there is like an old dog new tricks factor too, where like if let's say you even get pretty good at drawing, but you're just using like Western resources and stuff, there's never gonna be a point where you stop. If all you're imitating is Western styles, there's never gonna be a point where suddenly you have the ability to draw in Japanese styles without at some point putting in the amount of time it takes to learn all their stylistic peculiarities and esoteric ideas and shit, which again there are a lot more of than go into the Western styles. So it doesn't matter how good you are, you're gonna at some point have to make a sacrifice to put in that time. Like there's always going to be a job class change period. If you're absolutely insane, which is impossible if you started later in life, if you're absolutely insane, you'll be able to do it pretty quickly. Like quickly being like months quickly, not like a week quickly. And if you're not insane, well then you're looking at, a lot of time. You're looking at quite a bit of time. Like Saito took almost an entire year to job class change from monster designer to character designer, general character designer. And that was going from Japanese art to other Japanese art. And he was already like pretty good. Like he wasn't amazing or anything when he did that, but like he was pretty freaking good for like normal people's standards. And that still took him almost a full year to do. So it just goes to show like if you're going from like Western tuning into if he was moving from like Western tuning into what he was doing, it would have taken, even yet much longer. possibly 2 years. You know, it's hard to say. Maybe just a year and a half. It's hard to say exactly. It depends on the person. It depends on the circumstances and stuff. But point is, it's not like it's not free. It's not just like, oh well, I'm good at drawing. Disney, so I can jump into whatever the hell I want.
You can do the reverse.
You can do the reverse though. Yes, it's like a backwards compatibility thing. Because Japanese styles are so much more complicated and encompassing than Western styles, you can easily pick up Western styles if you have Japanese styles down, and it happens all the time. Like, Japanese artists will pick up and master Western styles, like, not infrequently. Like, it's a thing that happens. It's why, like, on KH3, for example, this is 3D, but it's the same principle. It's why, like, on KH3, for example, the Japanese artists were able to mimic Pixar perfectly. But if Pixar was to try and mimic, like, the native, like, Square character aesthetic, they wouldn't be able to imitate it. So it's like you get like a backwards compatibility thing, which is another reason why it's such an EXP waste to just copy Western art styles. It's just a huge, huge waste of time. Basically, that's what's kind of funny about it. Even if you wanted to draw in a Western art style for some reason, you'd still have a better time just drawing anime and then just switching. I don't know why you'd want to do that though, but if you did, that would be the smarter thing to do for some reason. Yeah, exactly. Shogi people can play chess well immediately, but not the other way around. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, yeah. It's just inevitable. Yes, don't exactly what Jo said. Don't do art until you have a degree in medicine. Just a common yeah, wrong EXP is like putting all your EVs in Taurus as special attack. True as fuck. Wolfie approved metaphor. Yeah, exactly, Fuzzy. Do you think there is something unique about the Japanese language that lends itself to moe anime? Yeah, several things. First of all, it's more info dense. There is just more info in written and spoken Japanese than there is in English, for a bunch of reasons. I don't even think I have to explain that. They literally have more words. They have more words in their active vocab than we do, for one. There's stuff like honorifics. There's more advanced systems of politeness. They just have deeper connotations to the words. There's they have the particles, like the gobies, like that, like ne, yo. We don't have anything like that. Point is that JP is just a lot more info dense than English. That's why ChatGPT now can translate Japanese into English like quite well now. GPT is, especially if you give it special instructions, GPT is, and DeepSeek might be the same. It's very good at turning Japanese into English. But the other way around will never work. Like, you can never reliably turn English into Japanese because it's like trying to it's like trying to turn a JPEG into a PNG. There's actually a funny Shardy video about that. But yeah, it's just like it's one way. You can't anyway, yeah, you get the idea. So it's really, really good for just writing, period. But it's extra good for writing like anime, especially like moe aesthetic type shit. Bishoujo characters who are being more expressive, because of that higher info density is extremely useful for packing a lot in to each like piece of dialogue and stuff. And as I was like talking about the other day, actually, like over time, the progression of writing characters progressed in such a way where like over time they strive to like pack in as much info as they can like per per unit. So like in the past you'd have a character say something or something and they'd be being moe in that moment or something, or they'd be being more like serious or humanistic or something in a moment or something, or sarcastic or something. But over time, the tendency was to try to pack all that info in at in one go, per unit of info. And Japanese is just so much better at doing that than English is, and this is all why I'm just like I could never go back to writing directly into English. I just don't like it. So like yeah, it's harder to write in Japanese for me. It takes more time and stuff, but it's just worth it. Like at this point, I don't even know if writing in English would be that much faster if I'm going to be like a real stickler for the characterization. I don't even know how much. I don't even know how much faster English would even be at this point. I'm trying to think exactly the spacing of this. Cause I think I made Cheeto's face still too big. I think it is really tricky to get the far character at the right size. Because I think it's supposed to be more like that. Yeah, that's a good question, Will. I don't know much about Chinese language at all. I know that Korean is pretty similar to Japanese, so Korean and Japanese supposedly translate well to each other, which was one of the reasons Blue Archive was able to have a Korean writer and translate well to Japanese. Allegedly, I haven't verified any of this. But yeah, apparently Korean and Japanese fit well with each other, but I don't know anything about Chinese. Korean also just kind of sounds like Japanese. Like if you hear Korean speak, it sounds almost like Japanese gibberish. So they have a really easy time with the accent as well and stuff. Apparently they're just decently similar languages. So maybe Korean is as info dense. I don't know. Chinese, possibly. The only Chinese word I know is sheshe. I don't know a single other piece of Chinese. I can look at it and kind of sometimes tell what it's talking about in text. Sheshe nas. Sheshe nas. I can look at it and sometimes by the kanji tell kind of what it's saying, like topic wise, but that's it. It's kind of like when you look at like a Latin language and you can maybe kind of tell what it's getting at, but you don't really know what it's getting at for sure. Ni hao. Yes, there's also ni hao. I know that one too. The tonal multiplicities of identical terms like des, dayo, nano, des. Yeah, exactly, Fumo. It makes it so easy to. Yeah, exactly. I wonder, Fumo. Yeah, it's really interesting. That's why translating my own game is going to be a fun experience because we're going to have to somehow solve the info density issue, and I have a little bit of a I have a little bit experience with it doing like it wasn't actual like serious writing, but when I put up the battle showcase video, that was, you know, that's technically dialogue. It's not like it's just jokey dialogue, not in the context of the story. But for that, I used GPT in from Japanese to English, and I just slightly changed it a little bit. There was actually one part that I should have made a little bit better, but for that I used JP to English GPT, and I was pretty happy with it. As happy as you can be, but like when it comes to the actual game, the context of the actual game, shit's gonna get a little stricter, and we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see like what really, you know, feels good. But I think GPT for starters, just seeing what GPT spits out, will be a good starting spot. But yeah, we'll have to figure out exactly what is going to make it sound, at least get as much of the nuance as possible. I'm okay with the nuance becoming like less obvious, as long as like, you know, as long as like 80% of the info's there. Even if it has to get like really subtle, I'm okay with that. But I don't want to try to let it get too. I don't want to have to compromise on too much of like the actual info content density, because, you know, that's where the heart of the character is and all that shit. I don't want to have to like make it lame. That would be cringe. Yeah, I can use TL notes. Translator's note. Keikaku means plan. I like the grammar and sentence structure. Oh, like the grammar structure and... Oh, Chinese is completely different than Japanese as a language. To be honest, it doesn't really feel like a real language. Like grammar and sentence structure seems more similar of computer language, but I studied it for a few months. That's funny as shit. Yeah, I've heard Chinese is like wild. I've heard it's a trip. Yeah, Fumo, I do feel like it's easier to be articulate in Japanese. I feel like it's funny because a lot of people used to say the opposite. A lot of people say, "Oh, Japanese is ambiguous," but that's not true. It's just very subjectively biased. It's not ambiguous. Japanese is able to be very specific, and I feel like it has an easier time being very specific than English. Especially if you read certain authors who like really strive for specificity in what they write. I don't think Japanese is vague at all. I think it just prioritizes the subjective. But otherwise, I think it's very, very specific and very. I think it's able to convey logic very precisely. Base Fuma. Yeah, well, they're like partially from Korea, partially from like some kind of like Russian type landmass thing. I think the Yayoi side, I think, is Korean born. The Jomon side, I think, is like proto-Russia born or something. Something like that. That's why you'll sometimes get Japanese people that look like just Asian as fuck. And then other times you'll get one that just looks like, that could basically pass for a Westerner. Like sometimes they even get confused, like why that happens. So yeah. I mean, just in general, pretty deeply tied to history with Korea. So it's kind of full circle with like the Oda shit, with how like more and more Koreans kind of just like realizing Oda shit is epic and, you know, embracing it. Hopefully Korea tuning dies out. Yeah. No more of the stupid Korean tune styles, hopefully. 10 years from now. It's just you know, and they just become an extension of Japanese ways of doing things. That would be nice. Okay, I think we got this right. Joe the Brave. I remember flipping through this art book called Digital Beauties about 90s CG idols. It was cool how you could tell the art was distinctly Japanese, even with the realistic proportion. Yeah, that's what's funny. Like, no matter what they do, you can always see their philosophy and like approach to art in it. Like, you can always like just kind of like you can always tell. Like for the example I will sometimes use is like if you take like the game like Moon Remix RPG, for example. Most famous at this point for inspire, you know, Toby airplayed it. Apu. He airplayed it. He didn't actually play it. He just read about it. But yeah, that game, I actually really love that game, even though it's even though it is very culturally questionable. But yeah, that game's a funny example where there's like so much like Western inspiration in the visuals and stuff, and like sometimes it will even like almost look like it's like superficially like it's like hard to distinguish from something like fucking like Clay Fighters or something. But there's just this fundamental difference. There's just like it's just like the world champ difference. There's just this feeling to it, like, oh yeah. There's just this fundamental kind of coherence, and like if I was to like really kind of look at it, I'd probably be able to tell you more tangibly why it's different, why it feels a little different. Probably something in the composition and color work, and probably something in the nuances of shapes and stuff. But yeah, it's funny how it's like, yeah, superficially you can get some screens that just feel like really similar to something like super cursed like Clay Fighters or something. But it feels like the cursedness of it just doesn't, it just doesn't quite pierce as deep. There's just something fundamentally different about it in that sense. So it's just funny how you can always just kind of tell. Right, Japanese learner classmates. Have you ever heard of Thomas Lamar? That rings a bell. Is he sort of like a Galbraith type beat? No, it's a little different. Animation scholar saw standing in direct contrast to a bias among Western audiences to view all foreign media as inherently reflective of its cultural origin. Oh. States that priority to. Yeah, I don't know. It's layered on like 10 different layers of like academic type. You gotta know what the hell he's referring to shit. But yeah, one thing that does remind me of though is that it's been a 10 times uptick in how do I learn Japanese and friends asking you in this last one. I wonder what that means. Does that mean otaku are winning, or does it just mean that the West is getting so unlivable? The show them cats, Jo. Show them cats. take them to cats. There's yeah, that reminds me, slightly related. I watched the investigating is gaming dead video, and there was a really interesting there was an interesting comment in that about how like in the current market all markets show a pretty strong bias to domestically created media, with exception of the West, which no longer shows like a very hard preference for domestically created media. And it's one of the reasons their video game industry is like rapidly getting cooked. But yeah, that's like mad funny because like I figured that would be inevitable at some point. That like at some point it's just like, oh, Western media just like doesn't even have like a home country, has a dwindling home country bias at some point. I figured that would happen. But it was crazy to see someone actually like who seemingly had good data to kind of lay out that that in fact has pretty much happened now. It was wild to see. Japanese culture is dominating more and more by the day. Every indie game launches with a JHT trans. Yeah, that's fucking funny. Castle. Wait till they get a load of me. Castle's not gonna launch with a JP translation. It's gonna launch with an English translation. Not even day one, too. I'm gonna make people wait. I'm gonna make people wait at least a week or two for the English. For chapter 1, I'm probably just gonna make them wait a couple days. But... yeah, that's crazy though. That's insane. It's truly insane. Truly remarkable. This is not size, right? This is supposed to be... yeah, it's funny too, because like more and more I do see like artists and shit with like, oh, I'm learning JP in their bio or whatnot. Definitely a lot more of that. No question. All right, we are good. Let's start roughing the actual thing out. You're good now. I have a pretty good idea of what it should be. I wish that were me. My friends are content to read subs, never getting read on. Yeah, that sucks. Castle is the J. Yes, I am the JP translation. There was that indie game that went viral for getting review bombed by the Chinese for not having. But that game had Japanese. That's insane. Even some random. It's crazy because it's like the market is like the Japanese market is like a small fraction of the Chinese, yet it's getting prioritized. It's insane. Even some random guy doing it for the money will prioritize getting JP over language. Over the language that gets you 2 billion. Yeah, that's insane. That's so weird. Millennials sometimes have this weird stubbornness about foreign media unless it's video games. Yeah, it's true. Like, for a while, it was extremely strong. But yeah, allegedly, that's just kind of been breaking down. But with video games, it seems to be just, like utterly broken down at this point, which is kind of wild to think about. I figured it would happen at some point, but... Okay, let's rough this out now. How much time did I spend on that? Less than 2 hours, it's not bad. Okay, we are going to... Actually, there is one person in chat that actually knows that actually read the scene I'm about to depict, and he actually helped me improve it. Oh wait, I gotta pull up one of the background images for so I know exactly what the setting is supposed to look like. My hope is to finish this in about an hour. Then I'll go grab my keyboard. My keyboard courtesy of Will and courtesy of Amazon. Oh shit! I think I fucking forgot to download it. Yeah, I forgot to. Hold on, I gotta dig through my. I gotta dig through my DM history with my brother to get the friggin' file. Where are we at? Okay, got it. So this is going to be of the sort of like holding quarters area, like the living space for new slaves before they get integrated, before they get Oh wait, I forgot. I don't think we'll finish in an hour because I wanted to. There was one other thing I wanted to rough out real quick. So hopefully like an hour and a half or something. Unless we go just like really fucking. Unless we just go hard as fuck. Quick. I have something pretty vivid in my head, so it might go pretty quick. It's hard to say. But yeah. So anyway, the lore here. The lore is. Yeah, that it's like a temporary living type space. And part of the lore also is that the castle and its attachments were converted from humans built these places initially. And then later became orc territory. And we're doing anything goes JRPG style fantasy, so there's like a, as far as like time period goes, it's like there's not a precise target time period. Vibe. It's just supposed to be like some elements can feel old school, some elements can feel kind of modern. Has any of the dev process taken less time than you expected? Yeah. Something took less time than I expected. I don't remember what it was. Gaining a really good understanding of fuck, hold on, me. Gaining a really deep understanding of Pokemon's battle system took much less time than I was expecting. Part of it helps that I have, a lot of history of exposure to it and stuff. But to really dive deep into it and truly understand it was not nearly as hard as I was expecting. And at this point, I've taken games consistently off of like pretty much every top player at this point. Sometimes like 3 matches in a row even and stuff. So like I do kind of know my shit. Do not even try learning Japanese before your 1800 ELO Gen 1 showdown. Let's fucking go. Tell that, Jo, tell that next time to anyone who asks for JP learning advice. Wolfie smile. Joe the Brave. Will, normies in general are apprehensive about Japanese media that's too anime. People still make Persona fans. Yeah, it's true. It's funny because it's like it's weird because like in some places I almost will see sometimes like jokes about like weeb shit that almost feels like it jumped out of year like 2006 or something, but just like with so much less like aggression and bite than it used to have then. So it almost feels like maybe like it goes in like kind of cycles, but it's very much on the, like, even if it's a cycle, it's like this kind of cycle, like, like a really intense downward cycle, you could say, a wave down. It's like, pink Wojak type pattern. Okay, so the question is, which character do we want on which side? Okay, I think I know which one we want on which side. Hold on, I gotta pull up the character reference. I gotta pull up the characters in question. It's funny how much of an easier time I could have had making the game if I just gave all the characters a uniform and stuck to it and didn't give them all like unique like customized outfit stuff. But I really wanted to reference Hebon. I wanted to like kind of shout out Hebon because like in Hebon there's this kind of joke how they all like they all extensively modify their uniforms. So I kind of wanted to like do that, and also I think it's just more interesting to see a bunch of characters that aren't wearing literally the same thing. I think that's just interesting. Especially too because the non-main it helps distinguish them from the non-main character slaves too and stuff, which is cool because it can create a contrast there and stuff that I think is just interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, but yeah, giving all the characters their outfit and stuff, that was really fucking hard. That was really, really hard. You can draw them even easier using Kisekai. Yeah, true. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Flat face. Put it better than I could have. Yeah, no culture likes, especially if someone is bringing in something like, kind of sophisticated or something, or, Oda culture shit is there's a big, like, especially with Oda shit, there's a big, like, there's just kind of an inherent, there's just like an inherent shakeup to it. There's an inherent, it's going to challenge certain fundamental things to some extent. So it's just kind of like inevitable. Yeah, they don't like anything that challenge. Well, okay. I'm gonna try to think how to. I'm gonna try to think how to word this without, while still like being cool, not saying anything I shouldn't. Basically, this isn't even just a Western thing. This is a normie thing. This is the same reason why Oda shit had a hard time, even in Japan, being an acceptable thing, considering an acceptable thing, which is that it is inherently challenging. There's a there's a form of like I guess you could say like fuck. How do I word this? While still being cool and not basically, let's put it this way. Normies want to stay like simpy. They want their value to be determined by how real life females see them. That's the safe thing. And moe characters and all that shit just be shoujo characters as a whole, Oda shit. I mean Ikemen characters too have this, like Fujo shit even has this property. Am I saying that love capitalism is the enemy of moe? Yeah, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. And it makes them extremely uncomfortable when something comes in, and because it's like anything that says like, hey, here's an ideal, here's something to strive for, here's something that is greater than what we can easily see on Earth. Suddenly that kind of challenges how valid you are from, having an IRL woman, you know, sexually validate you, you know, so they, you know, that's really uncomfortable. That's not something they can easily. That's not something they can easily get behind. It kind of it's something that fundamentally breaks the currency they use. It kind of like makes their currency worthless in a sense. So that's a big no-no, and that's why it took a lot of time for that to. It took a lot of time for that to break down to the extent it has now. It used to be that in like 2000, as late as like 2012, even 2013, you would always get comments on anime videos and shit on YouTube just randomly of a dude just being really triggered by it, saying like probably an anime, probably a closet anime watcher themselves, saying you know, shit like basically expressing how much he worships you know, how much how beautiful his IRL queens are, and how much of a transgression on the majesty of these beautiful, these definitely incredibly appealing and interesting fucking you know, females that give this dude validation. Yeah, there would always be comments about that. Always. About how his real you know, his real life sacred cows are getting disrespected by the existence of anime. Oh, I gotta save the file. Wish I had my new keyboard. Okay. Yeah, Fumo, that's a thing you'll see to this. You'll see that to this day sometimes. Sadly, those are the fake ones. Androids seem like they would have a similar effect, but people seem more receptive to that. Actually, don't know exactly what you mean, but I think maybe I know what you mean. Yeah, that too, Fumo. Just general intelligence is an issue. It is an actual issue. As much as I don't like to say it, it's an issue. Oh, right, like gyno. Yeah, exactly. I guess because I'm trying to think. It's like they're not like tied to a narrative or anything. They're basically like a advanced form of like prostitution at the end of the day. Kikoku guy mentions this. it talks about like basically the limitations of like a gynoid or a gynoid, whatever they're supposed to be called. Is that they end up just being like super prostitutes. They don't end up actually like replacing the expressive component. Whereas with anime and shit, it is actually it's fundamentally replacing value. It's fundamentally replacing the expressive component, and the value system component, as opposed to just being like sort of like a super, like a super prostitute. T-Cope guy, yeah, T-Cope guy. I highly recommend T-Cope guy. By the way, it's good shit, very good shit. If you like Saya, it's basically a companion story to Saya. It's like Saya in reverse, sort of, not literally, but it deals with a really similar theme. It's like White Fang to Call of the Wild. I'm not sure if it was a good idea to put this at a diagonal. It might have been better to just put it at a thing, but we'll see. We will see. It's funny because once you have even surface level knowledge of anime and Oda media, you see that pretty much all of it is made with an adult audience in mind. Ironically, it's popular and accepted shonen shit that's made for kids. Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly, Will. It's like they're willing to be... The age disparity, the like idea of like... Well, see, because the problem is that like... So much of conventional media is just designed around seeing how aggressively people can be like effectively like sedated into some kind of like trying to think what would be best here. Sort of like sedated into some form of like stupidity or ignorance. Whereas like Oda Media is genuinely trying to develop themes and ideas and shit. You know, even if it's not well written, it's still gonna be the trend has been to... Oda Media is first and foremost pace set by the writers who are, by the people who have accomplished things literarily. They, by and large, whether people realize it or not, set the pace for everything. Like even in Jump, like you will never find a Jump mangaka, even one that's trying to just make stupid shit, that doesn't have Hunter x Hunter like rent free somewhere. So at any rate, so when you do that, no matter what target of demographic you're targeting, you're going to be being real. You're not going to be being... The point is not to make people stupider. The point is to make people smarter. No matter what the demographic, whether it's kids or adults. Yeah, so this is not what we want. This is definitely not what we want. We want a more aggressive presence. And as far as the... we definitely want Hibiki on this side.
Japanese name is Hikakin. Mine is Hikakin. Today, now Hikakin, okay? And you are happy? Okay, Sophia, you are welcome my brother Chap. Hey, fight.
Leverage AI to make H8 HXH faster, but only feed a Greed Island. Yes, yes. That's what we need. It's mad fun. He actually has been writing and building chapters in advance lately. He's like 50 chapters. He's got like 50 written chapters now or something. I'd feel really comfortable if he said he had like 250. Then I'd feel really comfortable. HXH equals equals E MC squared plus AI. Fucking so fucking true, Sar. Gotta redeem the do not redeem the hunter license. Thoughts on Disgaea? I've never actually seriously played Disgaea much, but I did play a solid amount of Soul Nomad, which I really liked. I'm gonna have to go back to the whole series again at some point. I'm also familiar with Nippon Ichi, like the character Nippon Ichi, like Chan from the earlier Neptune games before they had a writer out when their when their company's relationships fell apart, went south. Yeah, American Kids Media has been brain rot for decades, absolutely, before the brain rot meme was the thing. Yes, this represents how AI is bringing Japanese otaku media to new frontiers and opening up possibilities for development. Yeah, you're. So I'm done now. That shit is insane. The sheer amount of playtime, they're like the racks on those things is insane. My parents are from the Soviet and they insist they had good animation, but looking at anime it doesn't impress. Maybe it's just nostalgia. Probably was. I don't know. I don't know if when I think of you know what I think of when I hear of Russian animators? Allegedly, you know the CDI games, like the fucking Zelda CDI games and stuff? Allegedly, that was Russian animators with little experience. Which is funny as fuck. That's always what I think of now when I think of Russian animators. I mean, that's what's funny though, is like, obviously like nowadays, like, Russia's starting to get a, oh wait, I actually drew her from basically this exact angle in another CG. Hold on. Okay, I sure enough, I don't want her exactly. Fuck. I knew this was going to be a little bit tricky. I don't want her. I was a huge CDI tard during the like 2007 period. YouTube poop period. All right, we'll get back to her in a sec. We'll get back to her in a sec. Would be hilarious. Yeah, that would definitely be funny as fuck if true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They would have pumped their money into that. Everlasting Summer rings a bell. I'm picturing like a DL site type arrow gay. But I could be no, okay, that's not what this is. Oh, that's right. This is like that Russian, yes, that Russian, yeah. Soviet games. Yes, these guys, yeah. I knew about these guys for a very long time. I knew that these guys were a thing. I've never seen I've never seen anything beyond the fact that they exist. Yeah, okay, so Fuzzy's familiar with it. I don't know anything about them other than they exist. I've known that they've existed for many years now. Okay, here's what I'm thinking actually. Let's make her a lot bigger. Yeah. Alright, I think if we do this, it should work. I think this should work. And then she'll be back here. With like hands on the table, dramatically type thing. I think this is not a bad idea. But I think the table is whack. Fuck, don't do that. Do that. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. The background, sure enough, looks weird from this angle, so we're gonna have to do something about that. You're gonna have to do something. I'm thinking like, oh, I'll figure it out in a sec. Oh, my screen is still black. My bad. Let's see. Yeah, I gotta figure out the exact. I think if we shrink her, yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. I think, okay, I think what we'll do is we'll have her making like a more dramatic, because she's supposed to be like an energetic type character. We'll have her like kind of dramatically with hands like planted on the. Yeah, like leaning kind of forward like that. I think that should do. So they're playing cards and she lost, you know, because they don't have money or anything. So she lost her main clothes to her. So she's gonna be like hugging like the outfit. Type situation. It's a very goofy max. It's one of the few like very goofy max scenes. Full blown goofy max scenes. J.O. Red.
投げも言ってないな。ノーレスラーそういう感じだったな。
Yeah, me too. No moment. Let's put a
ノーレスラーかな。違うキャラ。
black square here.
Hey, Sophia, Japanese name is
Oh, speaking of which, did you see? Oh wait, I already mentioned this earlier in the stream, but channel cast station. He put out a new video, and they took it down. So luckily, it was so funny because when he put it up, I had this feeling like I feel like they're just gonna like take it down for some reason. But yeah, they took it down because they said it was like too risque. Because the whole thing was like a big like penis joke thing. And luckily someone did save it though. And his video is insanely good. He's so good at making videos.
意外と早かったね。ここまでにしときますか。ね、テレポートがあるから。
But yeah, they took it down, and I think it's just a publicity stunt to give it more attention. Like, oh, it was too risque, so we had to take it down. So now, like, it'll generate buzz, and people will talk about it more.
で、テレポートがテレパシーになっているぞ。
All right, so the question is, do I like this? Do I like this? Oh, she's actually has like almost Miku style twin tails, come to think of it.
テレポートからテレポ
Let's have the twin tails sort of having some energy, some backward energy to them.
お疲れ様でした。たまには早く終わろうか。
I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with them yet. We'll figure it out.
さあ、皆様ごめんなさい。どうもありがとうございました。ね、大変面白かったですね。いろいろ言いましたけど。
But yeah, she's like the Wafu character in the game because it wouldn't be Japanese style Western fantasy without a like some Wafu characters. Without like a fictional Japan. Yeah, well, I did find out about YouTube DLP like much later than I would have liked. I used to download videos like the old stupid way, which is just like try to find a site that still works and downloads them. But yeah, I use them a lot. I use it a lot for downloading like big playlists of like, especially like Soshige videos when people will, because Soshige videos are like really valuable. Because shit can get shut down and all that shit. So I usually use them for that and stuff. I just don't usually like have space on my laptop like ready to just quickly download a thing. So I usually download like through my removable hard drive, which is why I don't just like readily download anything that I think is worth downloading at all times. But I should probably get in the habit of doing so. Yeah, especially too on this computer, I have all this space now, so.
15時からやるか、19時、7時からやるか。
Yes, we got the space now, so we're gonna start doing that. We'll just archive everything. Archive fucking everything. I've had some real regrettable like no archive moments with things. I don't even want to think about because I'll start crying. How are we doing with time? Yeah, not too bad.
みんな言っていいよいやはいパパ言ってはいどっちがいいでしょうか書いてくださいどうぞ
Alright, I think what we're gonna do is. Okay, I think after all. Yes, exactly. True, Fuma. Archival and file sharing is why we can have Western Oda movement. Alright, I'm thinking we need to. Okay. First industrial factory machines in the US were memorized part for part by someone who went to England because they couldn't get blueprints. Holy shit. That's fucking hilarious. That's insane. I wonder how he did that. Some like Mind Palace shit. Alright, I'm still not satisfied with her positioning. I'm thinking we need like. She definitely needs to be more forward for sure. From there, I think. Now everything looks a little bit tipped. But that might be fine because it's a CG anyway. Yeah, I'm thinking probably fine. Let's see, like. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine. Try to get. Okay, maybe what we'll do actually is we'll. Alright. Well, yeah, I mean, I think I'm just gonna commit and start filling in some details. I'm still not super happy with this pose. Maybe I think maybe she should be even smaller. Because when I was doing copy of these, I kept underestimating how much smaller the background character is supposed to be. And you always kind of want them to line up on like some sort of third rule of third type beat. I think. Yeah, I think this should work. And I think then from there, her. I think what I'll do is I'll detail like some of the face and pose a little bit. Then I'll move into the other CG thing I want to rough a little bit real quick, and then we'll go back and see what looks right and what doesn't look right. I think let's see. Yeah, it's crazy though that like I had like a sensation that like he was gonna take the video down. Shows I'm thinking like channel now. I'm like I have a brain connection to channel now. Should bode well because he's a marketing genius. Fourth grade, I had this annoying teacher who thought the CDI games were great because she played them as a kid. She actually got into an argument with me because I was talking about the AVGN video. That's like the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. I would have never expected to read any of those. To read any of those words. Holy shit, that is fucking funny. Dude, if I had a teacher back when I was obsessed with YouTube poops who like played those things, I would have gone like insane. Just the fact that someone else knows that those things exist. That are occupying like I guess at the time, like, I don't know, an unhealthy portion of my thoughts and days. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard. Not only played them, but thought they were good. I went back to someone cooking a 5-course meal. Oh yeah. Oh, so Will, you had the same. 2009, I think, was getting a little bit later than my period. I don't remember. I don't know if I remember Billy Mays type YouTube. No, I do. I do remember a few Billy Mays YouTube poops. Yes. I do remember a few Billy Mays YouTube poops. Didn't South Park like randomly do a Billy Mays episode during that period? A lot of the time, it felt like they were just like struggling to stay topical, so they would just like see what the internet was doing and like make something like really retarded, really like retarded based on it and shit. I think that was around the period I stopped watching. It was one of those like childhood habit watches. Like a Seinfeld type thing. Yeah, it really fell off by then. Yeah, big time. I remember just like seeing some apps and just being like, "Holy shit, that just like was not funny at all." All right, here's the problem. I don't have a ton of experience with non-flat characters. We're gonna have to approach this cautiously. I should find a better reference for this pass instead of just winging it. Let's see. Yeah, this should help. This is the Wafu character. Hibiki. You'll get to see all of them in the game. They each get a chapter dedicated. They each get a dedicated chapter. So you'll get to know them a little bit more, like, you know, as the thing progresses. But you will get to see all. I'm being careful to make sure that they all get some kind of nice. They all get some kind of nice relevance in chapter 1. Like none of them will. They all do a thing in chapter 1, like a functional thing. They all have at least one functional scene. The side characters, to ensure that like no one feels like they're there for no reason. Hibiki wa kawaii yo, Hibiki. Makes me think of Yaya. That's where I first learned about that meme. Yaya from Kiko Shoujo. I love Yaya is like one of my favorite characters ever. Yes. Wafu is Japanese style. It's also Kood's. Kood's sort of catchphrase thing in Little Bustard. Because she's obsessed with like Wafu shit. But it also sounds like a dog. Like making a playful sound. Tabata Yui. Oh yeah, true. I'm very excited to play H2O. See, I mean, first and foremost for the Saku Uta tie-in, but also for its own sake. Okay. pull this. So true, Fuzzy. So true. So I guess I can kind of tell you this. Out of the gate, it's not like a. It's not like I was saying last stream. Like I am actually being. I'm taking the game seriously as a as an experience to not spoil for people, but basically the four side characters, the four like the four supporting characters are basically each one of them corresponds to because there's a lot of like Undertale rebuttal in the game. So like rebuttal, so to speak. You'll see, you know, if that sounds weird, you'll see, by the end of the first chapter, you'll probably see what I mean by that. But yeah, so each of the four supporting characters are based on like one of the elements that is like effect. Okay, I definitely need a better. Like I could just keep feeling I wanna get some better things to look at. I'm just not used to. I'm not used to at all drawing non-flat characters. I don't want to goof something up integral only to realize later. Oh, I have a really good idea. Good reference. Yeah, so okay, so in Undertale there is this concept of the RPG man being really bad. Yeah, I would agree with all that. Yeah. Monsters are not your friends. Yeah. Flat face, exactly. Exactly. But yeah. I do hope he plays it at some point. For sure. We're gonna try to get him to play it. But basically, okay. Back on track to what I was trying to say. Basically, yeah, RPG man bad. And RPG man is bad. Here's the perfect thing to look at. The RPG man is bad because there's a few key traits in particular that make the RPG man really bad. And the main traits that make the RPG man really bad is that he, I think the four sort of like traits I sort of, yeah, exactly. Well, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Flat face. Toby will be a, he's gonna make a video essay. It's gonna say how Orcastle broke me. How Orcastle breaks you. Yeah, the beta murders, yes. Very underdeveloped, but to its credit, like there are aspects that it developed a little bit more than just a basic killing is Badong, but yeah, it is still by and large underdeveloped with that concept, and very, very much just like kind of like talking at you, essentially just moral reprimanding, talking at you. Fuzzy is fighting the Sonic battle. Sonic's strongest soldier. um, yeah, it's okay. The idea, Fuzzy, I'll explain it. The idea is that basically RPGs can train a couple fundamental elements in their players, and that like you're going off of this type of fantasy. And then what's the last one? Sociopathy, greed, avoidance. Yeah, so these are like basically like the 4 ideas that like Undertale sort of proposes that RPGs sort of like, these are sort of like the fantasy. These are sort of the fantasy that RPGs let you indulge in. So I took these, and each of the 4 side characters in Castle is meant to highlight one of these. But you'll see that more clearly as it goes on. Yes, Fuzzy, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, Will, that I really don't like that. I really, really don't like that. Like the genocide boss fights made up for it at least, because those were really fun. Like Undyne Genocide and Sands was really fun. But the stuff at the end of the whatever, that was, I don't know why. I can't stand that. Like it's so like patronizing. To be like, you have to win, and I'm gonna hold your hand, and you have to win whether you like it or not, because God forbid you don't finish my game and see the end. You know, I hate that. I really do not like that. Let's see. Let's grab this. I'm thinking we need to... Our shoulders need to be a little bit more compact. And I think she needs to kind of like lean into the table. Yeah, like that. Like exactly. Yeah, like that. That's better. Which means we need to move this. But I don't like the direction. I don't like her orientation. She's oriented too much. We'll figure this out after, exactly. I'll spend some time getting the body pose right once I'm sure that the face stuff is more or less what I'm looking for. In the arm pose. Um, you'll see, Will. You'll see. Oh, the music? We have a ZTS playlist going. I will give you a hint, though, Will. We got a ZTS playlist going. Best known for his like key remixes, and he did a lot of Umineko soundtracks, stuff like that. Video games Levant. Yeah. Yes, you definitely can, Fuzzy. You definitely can. Basically, yes. Basically, Will. The goal is not to simply state. Okay, so he had this whole RPG man bad, killing his badong thing, and my goal with Castle is not to just say you're wrong or anything like that. My goal is to bring certain value system decision making to like a head. Like, okay, but what, when things count, what is actually important to you here? You know, like what actually, what determines, I guess I'll just say what the, I guess I'll just say what the main theme is. The main theme is basically what determines whether or not you're willing / able to protect something. And that is where that's the factor that made me want to, like, that's why I say it's quote unquote a rebuttal. It's a rebuttal in the way Muv-Luv is a rebuttal to Evangelion, in that Yoshimune saw something in Evangelion about Anno's value system that really bothered him, and he wanted to make a work that thoroughly explores that that concept, instead of just like leaving it with the impression that I guess Eva left him with. I honestly don't think that the part of Eva that Yoshimune was concerned with was that proactive of a part of it, to be perfectly honest. But I definitely get where he was coming from. Basically, he was really concerned with the Eva's utter disregard for nationalism, basically, which is kind of ironic because not just nationalism, group identity in general. And it's kind of ironic because Anno is kind of he's pretty partial to Japan, and he is pretty, like, he's fairly, like, you know, pilled on the whole, like, oh, otaku have to defend themselves if they want to, you know, survive and shit. And that with Western influence can be very dangerous, stuff like that. So it's kind of ironic, but The aspect that I'm trying to get at with Toby is that it's not just like a Toby thing. It's a West thing in general. In the West, we have this really weird, like, for the longest time we've had this ongoing strange, like, love-hate relationship with we've had this love-hate relationship with otaku shit for the longest time. In fact, Dan Salvato even described himself as having that, those exact words, verbatim. And I want to bring that to an actual thematic head. I want to bring those elements to a thematic head. The connection to his work might fly over Toby's head. If he catches wind of it before it's complete, it 100% will. But by the end, no one will be able to miss what I'm talking about by the end, because there are plot level elements that make it unmistakable. But they won't emerge particularly strongly. They won't emerge particularly in your face until the last, I guess, like 15%. But if you do make it to the last 15% and stuff, it'll be 100% unmistakable. What I'm doing and what I'm talking about. And I guess if I'm to tell you even a little bit further what I'm planning, there will be a equivalent to the the genocide route in the game. There will be an equivalent to it, but it's not the genocide route. That it's going to be Castle's pacifist play. But it's going to be the equivalent of the genocide shit, and that it's the well, that's all I'll say for now. And that one, I need a patch for that content. I need I need like an arrow patch to even make, like, it's the type of thing I can't even what I have planned for that portion isn't even doable in a all ages context. So I will absolutely 100% need a patch for that. But yeah, it will, when they get, if people get to the end, it will, point is, if people get to the end, it will be 100% unmistakable. What exactly I'm getting at here. And yeah, so it's not that simple, Will, but you'll see what we're cooking. You'll see when the time comes. It's not, nothing is simple. The point, nothing is supposed to be simple. Nothing is supposed to be, A therefore B. I'm trying to bring out the difficult questions. Basically, I'm trying to do what a good writer is supposed to do, and let an idea develop in its full glory, not prescribe any morality, not force feed any ideas. Just let a theme really, let the difficult decisions emerge, let the difficult questions emerge. Let the player decide exactly what they think, but just force them to have to take these ideas to to a to a head, to a developed head. Yeah, exactly. Undertale was very, because the problem was he didn't, obviously he's not like a writer, so he clearly didn't get the idea between, the concept I talk about between theme and message. To him, it was the same. There was just a message. Yeah, so we could be like, exactly, context matters. And it's funny because ironically, the best I don't know how to put it exactly, but like the genocide route was supposed to be like the really kind of like reprimand you route. It was supposed to be the really like, oh, you are so bad, you are such a bad person. Ironically, and a lot of people agree, it was the hardest hitting stuff and like kind of the cleanest feeling storytelling shit, ironically, just because he didn't have a chance to be that verbose about it. He didn't have a chance to be overly verbose in that content because he didn't design that content to be overly verbose. And he lets his music really, kind of run the narrative, which is what, his actual specialty is. And he let some ideas kind of develop a little, just gave them a little bit more breathing room is the point. So ironically, the genocide, which is supposed to be like the full-blown like propaganda route, which it definitely is, it's still very propaganda-y. Ironically, it was like where some of like the best kind of like the more like fleshed out feeling kind of moments almost came from. Yeah, it's very tedious until you get to the boss fights, which are actually, the boss fights at the end are actually really fun. But yeah, doing it was really tedious, but I actually thought it was fun because it reminded me of when you're in, I don't know if he wanted this effect or not. I can't tell. But it did remind me of when you're a kid and you're trying to like break a game. You're trying to do some like weird glitch thing in a game. And you do, and it takes a while. It's time consuming. And the thing you're doing to get it to work isn't exactly fun. I actually kind of found it to be fun for that. Also, I never killed anything while playing the game because I thought that would make me clear the game faster. So it was really, and I didn't like the monsters at all. I hated them. So it was like really fun. It was like really satisfying to just like kill them. I just like really did not like those monsters. The other funny thing is too, dude, this is insane, but there is no special dialogue put in the game for if you only kill Toriel, even though that's a super common thing to happen. That's what happened to me the first time I played. And it happens to stream like at least Japanese ones. Like I've seen a lot of VTubers play the game. It happens all the time. Like they think you can't save Toriel, but they save all the other monsters. And the game just treats it like you killed a bunch of people. And that was happening to I checked online. That happened to a lot of people. And he like never fixed it. He never patched in like special case dialogue for that. I was just like, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, why do I need to get like talked down at just because like acted like I'm some anyway, other people have talked about this. It's funny as fuck. But yeah, that was dumb. He should have had special dialogue for that. But yeah, at any rate, yeah, there is in fact, yeah, there is absolutely not there's not like a clean thematic development in the game. It doesn't it talks at you at the end of the day. I was actually gonna make a video. Yeah, maybe you couldn't figure out how to program it exactly. Exactly. Well, like no one exactly. Um, but the the I actually literally totally forgot what I was gonna say. Something about Toby.
You were
Something.
talking about making a video on it.
Oh yeah, that's right. One video I was thinking of making. One video I was thinking of making was a video literally just called morality as prescription in games or something. I don't know. And I was just gonna go because like it got brought up again recently with like mouthwashing, with the whole like, oh, rape man bad, and it's just like, wow, that's such a deep theme. You know, that's so deep. And like that's all anyone talks about. It's just like, oh, it's so deep because the rape man did bad. It's like, okay, is there an idea here? Some people will try to twist it into like, oh, it's about like taking responsibility and shit, but it's just as talking at you when it comes to that topic as well. So anyway, I just thought it would be maybe a cool idea to talk about the type of thing I talk about, like prescriptive, you know, what I call prescriptive themes. Themes that are like fake themes that are just moral prescriptions. How do I feel about the way Trigun did pacifism? I don't know anything about the manga, but the anime is a nice solid story. It's really cool because I guess spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, just mute me for like 30 seconds, but if you don't want to hear about it. The way in which by the end, it makes it really clear that like for Vash, the pacifism thing is like a it's an aggressive statement message specifically to knives. It's not just simply like, oh, I'm obsessed with this philosophy. He actually has like he has a personal stake in it, and that's the part that's important to him. And that's really cool. And I really like the last episode. It's really well done. The last stretch of episodes in that are just really good. So that's my thoughts on Trigun. Yes, well, Undertale is way more about the characters than the story, and it was Goose Voice truly remarkable in the indie sphere for that. Like, not just the characters though. It's not just the characters that it was remarkable for. It genuinely captured old school UX to a solid extent and stuff like that. Like that's its real like thing, you know. That's first and foremost what makes Undertale. The story as viewed as literature, as much as, you know, fanatic fans might like to think, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't hold that strongly. It holds better than some, but for sure, it definitely holds better than some. Her butt is just too big. It's just too big. What pissed me off about DDLC, the themes were sewer slide bad and dating sim bad. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I gotta look up exactly what you mean by sewer slide. Oh, yes, seriously. Yes. Exactly, yeah. It's just that's just pretty much literally it. More of an A man than T. Yeah. It took me a second. I'm I'm a B man. Belly. That's my favorite thing. Let me think about. Yeah, the DDLC thing was ridiculous because, like, oh my god, I don't even know where to begin with DDLC. It's just like, I genuinely get angry thinking about it. I don't even know where to begin. It was so funny too about DDLC. So many of us like couldn't tell how cringe Dan was just from playing the game. Because like we couldn't tell like what part was being like self-aware, what part was being ironic. Like it was really hard to tell with a lot of things. So like when I played it, I like reserved judgment for a while. I was like, I couldn't tell if he was just like being like, I don't even know how to describe it other than it was just like hard to tell what he was even getting at. I'm not kidding. And I'm probably the only person in the world who humored this idea. I actually wish my brother was here so he could hear me say this, but I'll just tell him after, but because I don't think I ever told him this. I'm not kidding. When I finished DDLC, because I just didn't... At the time, I was a lot worse at getting a sense of writers also through... That's the problem. He's not a good writer, so like it's... The worse of a writer you are, the harder it is to even get a sense of what the person's thinking through it. But at any rate, I literally wondered if he was like this really based weeb dude that's like straight up knows Japanese and like reads VNs a lot, and that the game was a parody slash like a sarcastic joke about how a lot of the time in VNs like best girl doesn't have a root. And I'm literally, I shit you not, I humored that maybe the whole game was supposed to be about how, like, lamenting that. Like, oh, doesn't it suck when, like, the best girl just doesn't have a root? Because that's obviously, like, if you've played enough VNs, that's, like, a really common, that's, like, a classic thing. Like, yeah, the cope interpretation. Yeah, the taupe that, like, someone can't possibly be this cringe, right? Like, there has to be an idea here. There has to be something that's not cringe as fuck. Yes, when you have to write the game for the authors, actually. Yeah, I was just like, dude, that's definitely it, right? It's a funny game about how they don't give the best girl a root. So fucking true, man. So true. But no. Nope. That's not what it was. And I stalked his Twitter for a little bit and saw him descend into levels of cringe never thought possible. Year after year. So now I don't even care. Like, he's nothing now. I don't even think about him. Like, the game still matters, but he's like just nothing now. But the game needs to have its legacy undone, like something fierce. I mean, most people know how cringe it is, but it still does it still has some lasting negative effects. Because Baki and Yujiro, I honestly like Baki a lot. I think for like battle slap shit, I think it's just genuinely on the more interesting end. I think it's just genuinely like a cut above a lot of the less good stuff. And I think it's just I honestly think it's just funny as fuck. Like it never gets old. Like dudes being super insecure and like ridiculous martial arts shit. It just never gets old. Saito actually um yeah, it's exactly fun. It's so crazy to the point that it fools you into thinking it's not. Saito actually has a really funny history with Yujiro that you may or may not be aware of. Saito Naoki. So his original yeah, motherfuckers like eating air mid fight. Yeah. His original girlfriend was an artist, okay? And he simped her like real bad. Like he was the inferior one in the relationship. Like he was the non-dominant one. Cooking up ramen noodles, yeah. um, he was the non-dominant one in the relationship, and the GF. Oh fuck! Did I? For a sec, I thought my internet just went out. No, we're good. But yeah. So she was a big like Yujiro stan, and he didn't like Baki natively, possibly because he was like really into Street Fighter. Street Fighter was kind of like Saito's thing. It's what got him into art in the first place, and he really liked Goki from Street Fighter. You know, Akuma, Goki in Street Fighter. He really liked Goki. Yeah, yeah, fuzzy. You could probably already see where this is going. Um, so basically, he probably didn't like Yujiro because he probably saw him as like taking away from like Goki's legacy. But at any rate, she like kind of like made him. He got into liking Yujiro for her sake, and to better like kind of connect with her. To the point where at one point he was drawing an officially published Baki parody manga. And then what happened was, yeah. What happened was, she fucking, after like 7 years of simping her and her not giving him like any kids or marriage or anything, she just dropped him like a hot potato for a better artist that was probably that probably looked like Yujiro. So he got destroyed from this. And it's one of the reasons why it was one of the things that made him want to do his whole training arc and all that stuff. And immediately he met his wife after, and he knew to marry his wife immediately because she was super supportive of his art and didn't bother him about like anything when he was drawing and stuff, and wasn't invested in art other than just, you know, appreciating that he does it and stuff. So he knew immediately. He said the day he knew he had to marry her was when he was working all day on some like deadline shit or something, and she brought him like a week worth of like really good like food, refrigeratable food. And he knew right then and there that this was going to be his wife. So yeah, that's a really funny story of Saito getting cucked by Yujiro. But anyway, yeah, I like Baki at any rate. I haven't read or seen the whole thing or whatever. I know that there was like the recent Netflix funded anime. I saw like one season or half a season of it. It was fun. It's definitely fun. I don't know. I don't know if I like the way her hair is like clumping. We got to do something about that. Um. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm thinking if we have one kind of. I've heard of a writing adage. I don't remember. I don't know English, so I forgot how to pronounce that word. I know what the word means though. That you shouldn't aim to make characters likable or relatable, but instead interesting. Do you agree or disagree? I think where that's coming from is the right spot. I would take it a step further and say that just like if you want to be a good writer, adage. That's right, adage. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't know English. But I would take it a step further and say if you're worth your salt as a writer, your default state is to not care about anything when it comes to what I call utility. TLDR, utility is reader enjoyment. Just care if you're writing something good. Just care about if you're writing quality. And I think this is true for everything. I think this is true for art. Like if you're gonna draw a cute character, don't think about if other people are gonna find that character like cute or not. Just use a cute style and just know the qualities that you are trying to bring out of the character, and just focus on doing that, and focus on making the drawing good. Like for example, it's never like, oh, this character, oh no, people aren't going to find this character cute. It should be like, this cheek isn't feeling soft enough. You know, that's not the style. The style wants like the style wants a softer cheek or whatever, shit like that. When it comes to literature and shit, I'm like really, really passionate about that. Like I don't think you should be thinking about utility at all, audience utility, until you're like positive the actual like quality core has been procured. Then you can worry about the utility stuff. Then you can worry about like making sure people are gonna like this character or not, that type of thing. So that's my philosophy on things, personally, and I am very, very utility minded when I try to write. Like I'm constantly picking people's brains, like, why did you enjoy this? Why did you not enjoy that? I'm always very, very interested in what I just did like a gaster, very, very interesting. I'm very interested Undertale brain rot. Undertale brain rot, Chad's not what I'm talking about. Undertale brain rot monarchs know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm always trying to find out like why someone reacted to a certain thing, and write with that in mind. But the point is like it better be subservient to, you know, making this shit good, or you have nothing, basically, or you have absolutely nothing. I gotta do something about this. It's just not. It's just not quite right. That's getting a little bit better. We'll figure it out. I don't think it really matters what someone finds my like. Yeah, whether someone finds like character likable is subjective. Exactly. All utility is subjective. My only concern is whether the character's good. Not exactly fuzzy. Exactly. I heard it from a video essay comparing Death Note animated Netflix movie, and the point was the Netflix film was too concerned with making light relatable and realistic. Yeah, that's so retarded. I mean, a lot of the time, like as in, like, if what he's saying is true, then it's really retarded that what the Netflix video or what the Netflix movie did is retarded. Because, especially with, like, kind of, like, committee funded and created, like, slop shit. You know, like some, like, Netflix original junk or whatever, like, a lot of the time they just get a freaking committee together and they're just like, okay, what are the kids gonna relate to? What's our demographic of viewer? What do they like? More of that, more of what they like, you know, and it's just like that's it. And that's just awful. A lot of the times too, some of the most likable characters are characters that don't like have a logical, quote unquote, logical reason to really like them a lot. That happens a lot. I can't easily think of an example, but they definitely happen. All right, this is getting messy. I think I might. What I'm gonna do is clean this up. It just needs to be a good enough silhouette that, like, you know, my brother can handle the rest, but I just need it to have enough of a nice silhouette that it's not doing anything weird. I think what we need to do is just get the other side enough. The other side just needs enough of a hop to it, a little energy to it, and it'll work. It's almost looking. This is almost looking Ojo-sama like. We don't want that. We want something a little more Miku-esque. I'd rather have a protagonist that aligns with my morals or is super relatable because it's a nice feeling emotionally, but I understand that isn't what makes it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Takumi has a lot of relatable elements for sure. at least for maybe me when I was like younger, many things for sure. I heard it from a. Oh wait, no, I just read that. Yeah, like. I'm a little bit unconventional with what really makes me like a character. A lot of the time, it's like, a lot of the time, what makes me like a character is um, like the aesthetic of their struggle, I guess you could say. It's often the aesthetic of a character's struggle that makes me like them a lot. So a lot of the time, um, I end up liking characters that like sometimes a lot of other people like will sometimes get like overshadowed by other characters in a story. For example, like in a lot of VNs and Eroge and stuff, a lot of VNs and Eroge don't have main characters that are like particularly like aesthetically cool or anything, or have like that like much of like a like a power to them or something. You know what I mean? Like they don't have much like they just don't have a ton like to give them like a huge edge or something over other characters. And a lot of times characters like that are not like super popular. Usually people are more focused on like the girls and shit. But a lot of time the characters like that end up being like my favorite characters and shit. Even though they usually like don't do that well in the polls. And then when you do get the male characters that people like really love in VNs and stuff, like you get like Kyosuke from Little Busters, or even like Naoya in Sakuuta, for example, and shit. I always end up liking them like less than a character like Koki from Sorceress Alive or something. I don't know. I don't know who's read any of these, but the point is that like, yeah, it's like, I like when the aesthetic of struggle is like, I like when a character has, like an underdog aesthetic to their struggle and stuff. Or if it's not like an underdog aesthetic to their struggle, they have something that's like I tend to like characters less when they have like, conventionally reliable traits, basically. Sometimes I like them more for that. It's hard to say. It's just hard to say. I really like middle ground type characters and stuff. Just shit like that. It's hard to explain exactly, but yeah. Yeah, that's true, Will. The results do tend to be like quite different. Yeah, committee style is best for producing cringe slop. True, yeah. I think the thing about the committee style is it's good at producing a work that is like safe, like in the sense that like it's less likely to offend anyone unless it's like some really aggressive DEI shit. And then if you have like a ridiculous marketing, if you have like an infinite marketing budget, then you could just take care of that. You could just contrive the popularity of the thing from there. So I think that's why they like. I don't think they think they're actually making stuff that people find genuinely that interesting. They just know that like, okay, get the committee to make the safest thing, and then rely on the budget, the marketing budget, and all that shit from there. Orange Sama. Relatability should not rely on similarity to the average audience member, but being well written enough where even a peculiar character can be related to by people who have little. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like relatability is so much more about expression and articulation than it is like, wow, this dude likes drinking water to survive. I also like drinking water to survive. I feel like the committee style eggshell walking does not actually. Yeah, it probably just doesn't even help them, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, exactly. Well, they should just like, exactly. How many Vinnies have I read? On my VNDB, which I don't update that often, I think I have like 28 or something registered as 100% complete. I've 100%ed like 7 or maybe like 8 of them or something that are on there. But I didn't want to put them on there because I read them at a level of Japanese that I like don't want people to ask me questions about. So as far as 100%ed, I guess like I don't know, let's just say like 30 something. 30 set I've 100%ed like maybe like 30 something VNs. As far as just played period, like sometimes even played a good amount of but just didn't finish. I always struggle to finish stuff. Not like I plan on not finishing it. I plan on finishing a lot of things I have in the bag, but I don't know. We're getting into like triple digits at that point, so it's hard to say. No, I haven't read Narcissu yet. Every time I see the title, I think a Narcissa, right? I think people have said it's good though. It's short. It's short, right? It's really short. I'll check it out. I'm libido common on VNDB. I think it's libido-common. I used to have ratings and like little reviews and stuff, but I took them off because I realized like if I want to be like an industry, if I want to be a serious, like if my plan is to get recognized in this industry and shit, I can't be like reviewing and rating like other people's works who might be like, you know, that's just like not cool. So I took them off. I am thinking of making like a private like Aerogay review blog for Patreons and shit though. I am thinking about that. Yeah, I agree, Fumo. I feel like when a character's trait gets really extreme, it's almost like easier to find yourself in it, ironically. I kind of agree. I don't know if I always feel that, but like I definitely like get the idea for sure. Well, let's put it this way. You take like two really extreme characters, just picture, you know, for ease's sake, because it's like the best version of the work. Just picture 1997 Berserk, Kenpu Denki Berserk. Miura explicitly said that Guts and Griffith are supposed to be like two sides of the coin, and that like he thinks that like everyone should relate to both to some extent. As he put it, like when you're doing really well, you're probably going to relate more to Griffith. And when you're struggling, you're probably going to relate more to Guts. And I think that's funny. And I think that's probably true to an extent. So yeah, I would say like making traits really extreme can actually help. I made a thumbnail for an art request and made me completely mentally. Well, it's epic you're getting requests at least. Yeah, composition is fucking brutal, man. And you're like naturally really good at it. But the shit's fucking hard. Shit's fucking hard. Huge respect to storyboarders who can like whip out compositions really fast and have them be like, you know, literally sound. It's extremely impressive stuff. I'm hoping to get there one day. I want to like combine these. Like that. I think it's better. And I think these ones can be simplified as well. Yeah, now I think I'm happy. Yeah, I think my brother will be able to handle the rest. Maybe we'll have this hair going like that. Yeah, I think that's better. I think this is good now. I feel like after all, she did end up a little bit too small. I feel like she just needs to be bigger. After all that, let's see. Something like that. I feel like is better. Maybe move it over. Yeah, I think maybe this is good. We're gonna take a break and do the other one. The other one's a lot simpler. It's just a bunch of like bones and skeletons and shit. Let's see. Schumann reviewed others' music in a journal under pseudonyms. He used characters such as Florestan, his passion, impulsive side, and Eusebius, his introspective poetic side. Interesting. I think we should do that. This time sucks a little bit because it's a not safe for work. So you can't just slap it on Twitter. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, man. If there's extreme traits, there's going to be people who feel strongly that they relate to those traits because of how pronounced. Yeah, exactly. A character who's a regular person is no different from someone you'd find if you leave your house and point at the first person. Yeah, exactly. And I think like there's just something like really for me personally, and I think this is why I tend to have a little bit of unconventional taste sometimes in characters. I wouldn't say my taste is completely unconventional in characters. But to me, there's just something really epic about a struggle that is like universal rather than peculiar. Like if someone is struggling in a way that is like not the result of idiosyncrasies or like partially is, but it's more just like I really like the idea, for example, like, oh, I'm struggling just because I'm like, like indecisive and like don't necessarily know my value system and immature in the way like every like teenager or something is immature. To me, that's like a more inherently like romantic, I guess you could say, like it's like a more poetic conflict than like, oh, I'm struggling because take it easy, Bada. And good luck with the composition. Good luck with the picture. That's like a more like poetic struggle to me than like, oh, I'm struggling because I have this larger than life or like leadership type trait or blah, blah, blah. For some reason, and that's reverse. That's reverse compared to how most people think. Most people find the ordinary struggle to be less romantic and more like just inherently less interesting. But I find it, for some reason, I find it more interesting. That's just like how I am. Yeah, you absolutely can have both. Yeah, exactly. That's really true. That's really true, Fumo. Like, a character like Bateman is really good with that. Like, I'm thinking of book Bateman, by the way. The movie Bateman is quite a bit more shallow than the book one. Maybe just as relatable, though. But, like, you can have a character that takes the ordinary struggle into a larger than life context, which I think is really cool too. So there's just like a lot of facets. There's a lot of facets to it. And I always thought Bateman was really cool, like as a character for that. Like, I love the way in which like there's always something that he does that like you've definitely experienced. Like, there's always going to be at least like a few Batemanisms that you're just like, yeah, I've been there. That's me. Like, even if you're not like cooking and eating women's brains, like you'll always have those moments where you're like, yeah, that was me. Related to his lack of self-control, Sigma as fuck, same as Kira from JoJo. I have a soft spot for more ordinary and humanistic struggles. Yeah, same, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree completely, Fuzzy. I completely agree with that. All right, we're gonna take a break from this one, and especially because I think I want my brother's input on it a little bit too before I go further. And we're gonna try to do the last one. So let's. All right, so this one is gonna be a pan up style one. I wonder if I want this one to be a pan up style one as well. I can easily change that later if I want. Yeah, so I want this one to be a pan up style one. I would say it depends on like what period of Naruto you're talking about, because like back like pre Shippuden, I think Naruto spoke to I think his struggles spoke to like a lot of people, because I think they were very down to earth, because he struggled with both being special in a way, but also he struggled with being ordinary in a way. Well, that was like one of the themes of the like ordinary versus special versus all that shit. And when the editor was jannying Kishimoto's writing, like there was genuinely a really interesting thing going there with that with Naruto. And I think that I guess he's just a good example of embracing like both sides. Like he has both elements of struggle in him. So I guess you can have a character that certainly has both in that regard. And yeah, I think I always thought it was really, really cool for that. Like I really like early Naruto. I'm not like as crazy about it as I used to be as a kid, but it will always have a spot in my heart for sure. This one is called, we'll just call it Bones. We'll call it Skeleton. Oh yeah, good point, Will. Yeah, I should just get off and get the keyboard now, to be honest. That is true. It's past the point where I wanted to go get it. Okay, let's do that. I'll just finish these off screen. And tomorrow I'll have my new keyboard and we can work on coding a lot more comfortably. I have a really good idea for the UI shit with the status effects too. So you should see that implemented, I think, when I get on tomorrow. I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna be really cool and work really well. So I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully. Given all goes as planned. Thank everyone for stopping by. Stay based.